Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Boy, this is the truth. Donald Trump is a businessman who became president and has proven just how absolutely useless politicians really are. That's why they hate him. Morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Come on, don't weaken on me, Patriots. Good morning, good morning. And a good morning to you and yours. Zeb at the Ranch on a Tuesday, November the 12th, and we're looking forward to having a great program with you this morning. Brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, and they've got all the tires for any kind of driving weather. Stop in and see any one of the 7 locations today, along with Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And, of course, Greystone Crossing, independent senior living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Hi, Zeb. How are you?
I think I know who this is, and if it's who I think it is, you're celebrating a birthday today, right?
Yeah, yes I am.
Now, how many wonderful years are you celebrating?
16.
Oh my goodness, am I getting old? Oh, Abby Hansen, God bless you. Give us the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, and indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
16 years old. Do you realize how old that makes your dad and mom and me feel? Well, congratulations, and may you please have one of the most blessed birthdays ever, okay?
Thank you, Zeb. Happy anniversary.
Oh, that's right. Today is my... Wow, you are sharp. Thank you for your remembering. God bless you, Abby. Thank you.
Thanks, Zeb.
All right, take care. What a sweetheart. I can't even remember how old she was when she started calling in with the Pledge of Allegiance. I think she was like 6 or 7. Now she's celebrating her 16th birthday. Oh, man, no wonder I feel like I need to go to the rocking chair. Woo! Happy birthday, Abby. Right now we got to get to the weather real fast, and the weather brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn, right on the Burley Paul Highway. Can't miss them. They've got the best of rental tools and equipment for any and all your different projects, construction projects, whatever. Be sure and get a hold of them today. They've got a front yard just full of equipment to serve you at K&R Rental. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We're looking at a fairly mild day as we are making our way through the work week. Here's a look at your weather forecast for the 12th. Mostly sunny skies. We are expecting a high of 57. A little bit of a breeze, but honestly, we are going to be in this air stagnation advisory. That means that we don't have a lot of breeze pushing through that smoke and all of the dust and everything from harvest silt. That's going to be laying low in the valley. For tonight, mostly cloudy skies. We are expecting a low of 31. Tomorrow, sunny skies with a high of 57. Overnight low of 27. By Thursday, hopefully we're going to be breaking out of that air stagnation advisory. Partly sunny skies, high of about 60, east winds at about 7 miles an hour. For Friday, mostly cloudy skies and 60, and then for Saturday, looks like mostly sunny and 50. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zebeth Ranch.
Gina, thank you very much. Once again, I want to tell you about Roger and the crew at 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn. They do have all the equipment you need to do the job. And they've got all your heaters, too, to stay warm while you're doing the job at K&R Rental. Stop in. If you're not sure what you need, give them a call. 678-3122. K&R Rental, right there on the Burley-Paul Highway. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. I also want to remind everybody, the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Big sale this week on Thursday at 10:30 at 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Number to call for cattle consignments and sale information, 678-9411. Merv May, Cade, Rogge, and Lance Udy. The sale that works for you, and they really put on a ripping good sale every Thursday at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard in Burley, 678-9411. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, good morning, Mr. Bell. I just wanted to call in and wish you and your lovely bride a happy, happy anniversary.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. And by the way, also double thank yous for the nice card.
Oh, you got it this morning.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I didn't because of my computer illiteracy, but Deanne did.
Yeah, we know it's like it is at our house.
Oh, my.
The girls know how to pull that stuff up.
There you go. Donna and George, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. You guys have a wonderful day.
All right, thank you. Caller, I'll be right there. I got to get some bills paid, and I want to tell everybody about Darrow's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. You know, if you didn't have time to do your washing bunkie and it's all laying in a plastic bag over there in the corner, well, take it into Darrow's. They'll wash, dry, fold, and iron all your clothes. And it's just like Mom used to. I'm telling you, man, these people really serve you with the best of services, dry cleaning extraordinaire. Really take care of your rumply crumplies at Darrow's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Also, a big shout out to our friends that have been on this program for almost basically the whole ride. Man, we started this thing about 17, 18 years ago. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Oberlin Avenue in Burley, 678-0459. They've got all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs, and a staff to go with it that knows everything to help serve you. These people are really, really good, and they've been in business for almost 7 decades. Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Oberlin Avenue in Burley, open 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. And here we go again, trying to outdo me. You have to have your anniversary today.
Yeah.
Because you knew mine was on the 16th, didn't you?
As a matter of fact, I do know that, and I wanted to wait a couple of days before Thursday, my last day on the air this week, and extend that to you and Nancy, but right back at you. Happy anniversary coming up later this week.
You bet. It's wonderful, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You know, I have become very, very impressed with Nikki Haley. She is really something. But I got a question for you. Do you know if she was born in the United States?
I believe so. I believe her parents had just moved here. Now, I don't know the whole background about Nikki Haley, and I'm saying this, and I want to underline the word under supposition. I'm not saying it as bona fide fact. And so I don't want somebody saying, well, you're wrong. I may be. But according to what I've heard, she is a legitimate citizen of the United States by birth, and I don't know the whole history of how her parents came together, how they moved here, and where she was born. I'm sorry, Keith, I can't give you that all off the top of my head.
But you know, I think the world of this person. I followed her career ever since she ran for governor and everything, and she doesn't make many mistakes.
Well, she doesn't make a lot of mistakes, if any, and she's very articulate. She's very concise, and the one thing I like about Nikki Haley, and I'm going to be very blunt about it, she tells everybody exactly where that goat ate the cabbage in the garden, and that's what has to be done.
Yeah, and she don't even have to hit you.
There you go. Got to run. I got another call, buddy. Thank you for your kind wishes.
I hope she runs for president. She does. She's got my vote.
All right, Keith. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Caller, I'll be right there. I want to remind everybody about Denny's Restaurant. Ooh, good eating. Ooh, nice people serving you at America's Diner. I'm talking about, if you love breakfast like I do, all the omelets and all the breakfast skillets and all the strawberry crepes. Oh, my goodness. And then, of course, all the lunch menu and dinner and the desserts. What are you waiting for? Run right over to Denny's Restaurant at 611 North Overland in Burley, and another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. They are the best at what they do in creating delicious food for you and your family. At America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. You stop in and see those good folks today. One more good word, caller. I'm running a little bit late, so please bear with me. I also want to mention our friends at Ark Animal Hospital, and they're located at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn, and the number to call 678-1177. There's so many things to be aware of in the cold weather, but the number one thing is make sure that your animals have protection and shelter, and also lots and lots of water. Don't let it freeze up, and make sure they've got all their vaccinations too. Questions? Call Dr. Bill and the crew at Ark Animal Hospital in Heyburn. The number 678-1177. Really true, they have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Happy anniversary to you and your lovely bride. Today, the menu at the senior center is shepherd's pie, and you get a little bit of everything in that. Can't go wrong on that. And they'll have all the trimmings and some delicious dessert to go with it. Only $5.
Joe, that was awfully nice of you to say that, and we'll send everybody over to the senior center right there on Overland, and if they want to take out a dinner, just call ahead, and it's only $5, right?
That's right. Have a good one.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Appreciate it. I want to take a moment here, a little personal note, and I really mean what I say, that in everyone's life, you have challenges, and you also have some real fond memories. And that's true when you get married. And you can tiptoe through the tulips and also through the minefields after you've been married. And the last 48 years with my beloved wife have been absolutely a blessing. 48 years we've been married today, and she is the most unselfish person I have ever been around in my entire life, and also the most caring. And so, I've been so blessed. I would not be at a point in my career where I am today, and this isn't bragging, these are facts. I have been highly successful in my chosen career. And all of it I lay right at the feet in the form of a gift to Deanne for her support and everything she's done to keep me rolling and going. And with that being said, I extend to my lovely wife of 48 years the best and the most blessed wish of a happy anniversary. There you go. Deanne, I love you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-42. 4587. Happy Thanksgiving wish from our friend Rick over at Mountain Transmissions at 504 East Main Street in Burley, right across from Stokes Food Center. Don't forget that. They wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. And by the way, if your tranny's not doing what it should be, and free estimates, free diagnosis, old Rick can take care of the problem. 678-9110. And that's, of course, Mountain Transmissions in Burley. Calls welcome. Give me a jingle. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This ought to, I've got a couple of stories I've got to get in here this morning. And I would imagine that this headline of a story that was on page 3 in the Times News this morning probably has the likes of our world-famous climatologist, Jim Jones from Eden. He knows everything about climate. Probably sitting back not wanting to write too much about climate change this morning, over the last month of October being the coldest in Idaho's history. And as a matter of fact, I talked to my aunt the other day in Wisconsin, and it was just prior to the Green Bay game, which was played in a lot of cold and snow. 70% of the United States right now, as we speak, is in a big, deep freeze. It's cold. Now, ask yourself this. Do you really want these climate change clowns like Jim Jones and others across the United States to try to regulate and mitigate the temperatures to an even colder state to soothe what they say is called climate change and global warming? I do not. More people around the country are starting to laugh at these people because they are laughable with their lack of intelligence that colder climes are much more dangerous to living and enjoying life and certainly are not applicable to try to grow crops for food production. So we did have October as the coldest month in Idaho's history. And it's going to be interesting to see and read what some of these wackos are going to write about now as far as, oh, we're burning up in 11 years. We're all going to be in the incinerator. It's so fictitious and so fraudulent because if you have any faith in the good Lord above, He is the only one with a hand on the thermostat. The rest of these people are phony quacks. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866. Speaking of climate change people, this commercial fits right in. Dino's Septic Service, you better believe it, right over there on the east end of the valley, and I'm telling you, they do a wonderful job with septic tank pumping and liquid waste removal and sewer and sink drain lines being cleaned, and they've got the best of backhoe services, water and sewer lines installed. They just really do a job for you. I'm very impressed with them. I know when we needed a septic tank pump, bang, they were here, and fast, fair, friendly service. All you got to do is call them at 436-6526 or 678-1638. And they are the best with that big truck that says smells cargo on the way. Dino's Septic Service. All right, it's your turn. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You're not going to believe this. I couldn't when I heard about it yesterday afternoon, and then I had my lovely bride of 48 years today pull this story about San Francisco's new district attorney. His name is Chesa Boudin. And in just a moment, I'm going to share with you how absolutely loony this man is and what he wants to do to further the filth in San Francisco. You're not going to believe this story. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir. Hey, that picture I sent you yesterday, I just wanted to call and let you know what it was. It said, if you want to thank a soldier, be the kind of American worth fighting for.
Absolutely. One would assume that you're not feeling right up to the level of utmost good.
One would assume correctly, sir. I'm going to let you go.
Hey, listen, you take care of that voice, and if you want to, call me after the program. I've got an excellent cure for that.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Okay, Doug, take care of yourself. Sounds like he's really got a good cold. There's been a lot of colds going around here lately. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning again, Zeb. I didn't get a chance to compliment you on your show yesterday. I thought that was great. A real tribute to veterans. And you seem to know how we really feel, even though you are not able to serve, but you have the sympathetic side for us.
Listen, Keith, I'm nothing more than an old white male that loves America, and if anybody has a problem with that, go ahead, confront me. I love America. I love our veterans. I love the people that have absolutely put their lives on the line wearing the uniforms of our different branches of the military for the United States of America, and anybody that doesn't like it, they can take a long walk off a very short pier.
You know, and another thing about your anniversary, Zeb, you're exactly 10 years younger than me, and you've exactly been married 10 years younger than I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful.
Well, I tell you what, you were blessed with a great wife, the sugar cookie queen, and I was blessed. And a lot of times guys don't want to admit it, but boy, they don't realize sometimes how well off they are. Thank you, Keith. I appreciate that.
Yes, and many more for you and Deanne.
All right, sir.
Please give her a hug.
Oh, I'm going to.
Great.
I will, sir. God bless you. Thank you so much.
I'm in on you. I just want you to give her a hug.
All right. All right. Thanks much. Appreciate it. Calls welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I never had any idea, ever, growing up or be coming out here to Idaho in 1969, that I could ever be blessed like I am with this wonderful lady. Don't forget, let your house be your home with the perfect temperature from the iComfort Wi-Fi thermostat from Lennox, featuring remote control access so you can adjust your home's temperature from anywhere at any time. Right now, Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox offering up to $1,600 in rebates on a new home comfort system. So keep comfy. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459. Really good people. I got to tell you this because you're just not going to believe how pathetically stupid, and I'm not going to mince words on this, San Francisco is right now today. Listen to this. In San Francisco, California, there is a car break-in every 20 minutes. Public urination has gotten so out of control that the city had to spend $20 million to build open-air urinals in different parks. They still, in San Francisco, and I don't mean to sound so graphic, but you need to hear this, they still have not reduced the amount of human feces and vomit and urine that can be found on the streets in large magnitudes all the time. And now the numbers have gone up to over 10,000 homeless individuals living on San Francisco's streets. But San Francisco just put in a new district attorney that plans to do absolutely nothing about it. Nothing. His name is Chesa Boudin. He's a former public defender. And he says he has plans to turn his attention to police brutality and mass incarceration instead. Now, his new vision of justice does not include any enforcement against any of the quality of life crimes that are going on in San Francisco. And he made this statement. I mean, this is going to go like wildfire all across this country. Mark my words. L.A., Chicago, New York, Florida, Austin, Texas, you name it. He said, we will not prosecute cases involving quality of life crimes. We will not prosecute crimes such as public camping, offering or soliciting sex, public urination, blocking a sidewalk, and they will not be prosecuted. In other words, business owners, people trying to get down the street, they're the ones that are going to have to find another avenue of approach, because this absolute imbecile is going to protect these people. I read this in its entirety twice, and I just shook my head. Boudin said it will only be better for people in the long run. What? Oh, my Lord. This city, San Francisco, is going to become more uninhabitable than it already is. And they are creating no consequences. No, underline that word, no consequences for theft, public indecency, drug use, anything. Those problems are going to be allowed to exacerbate themselves, get bigger, bigger, and worse. And nobody's going to do anything about it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not civilization. That's not a society. That's anarchy and chaos. And this guy absolutely, when interviewed, said, no, I'm not going to do anything about that. I'm going to go after police brutality and mass incarceration. How would you like to be a business person down there? How would you like to live in that respective area of a cesspool, a human cesspool? No laws, anything goes, and you can't do anything about it. Wow. What are your thoughts on this? Give me a call, 436-2244. 1-866-927-4587. You and I think my listeners, we're on the verge of a Sodom and Gomorrah. We're on the verge of a Sodom and Gomorrah. When you look at the likes of San Francisco and the complete buffoonery of the California governor, Gavin Newsom. I mean, the guy's an idiot. Come on. I'm not going to soft soap at anything. He's an idiot. He's a liberal idiot, leading the state into more of a pathetic, chaotic mess. I don't have any respect for the man. Never will. But it's not just there. It's happening in other parts of the country. When you let sleaze and chaos flourish, it's going to jump around like a checkerboard. Austin, Texas. Salt Lake City. Boise, Idaho. Seattle, Portland. New York City. All of these places with mass populations are going to be absolutely being subjected to filth. Your thoughts. Give me a call, please. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. The business people. I mean, I don't want to get that graphic, but some of the things that they have to do every day to open their doors in San Francisco so the public can walk in, and when I use the word walk, I mean they got to watch where they step. Every single day, these people that are business owners have to don plastic gloves and plastic kind of like hazmat suits, and they've got to go out and they got to scrape, clean, and spray the entryways of their building. Why? For what? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Zeb. I'm going to say a few things about California. The way it's run right now, when I was growing up, I was born and raised there. I moved here in 1979 because of the way things were going there. But used to be a beautiful state. We used to be able to walk anywhere. We used to be able to do anything we wanted to do. It was a beautiful state to visit. These mayors and governors and city council, but they're making a cesspool out of California, and it is really a shame.
You know something, Donna? I have rodeoed all over California. I mean, from way up in the northern tip all the way down to the southern end. I know a lot of people down in California. Good, hard-working, honest people. I don't care if you're talking Red Bluff, California. I don't care if you're talking Alturas, California. I don't care if you're talking Bakersfield, California. All over the state, there are good people that are absolutely livid because of the lack of leadership in that state of California, and now it's even going to get worse.
Oh, it is. And, you know, the Pelosi's and the Schumers and the Waters and all them creepy people back there, they live in a gated community. She has to drive past that every single day on her way to work. Why don't they worry less about impeaching Trump and start fixing the problem?
You know, I don't understand, honestly, you touched on something, fixing the problem. When you're a business owner and you're paying your taxes and you're taking care of all due diligence to pay what the city deems necessary for you to have a business in a certain location, and you have to get up in the morning at least an hour and a half earlier and don a hazmat suit and plastic gloves and everything and a face shield and go out and scoop the poop off of your front of the business and spray it clean, something's wrong here, Donna.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is. You know, and there's a city back east. I heard this story here a while back, and I can't remember. It was in Missouri or Wisconsin or Nebraska or someplace back there, where they have built these little tiny homes.
Yeah.
So the veterans don't have to be homeless.
Yeah.
There's a lot of veterans out there with no fault of their own that are homeless. They've got this PTSD and TBIs. They can't get the help. So instead of letting them sleep on the streets, God, make these. I mean, it doesn't cost much to put those little tiny homes up. They could do the same thing for the homes, that, you know, the regular people that are homeless.
Well, yeah, but wait a minute. I agree with you up to a point. But we also have a lot of leeches, absolutely blood-sucking leeches in our society that are homeless by choice. And it's just a free way for them, like that one guy on television a week ago. I don't want to work. I don't want to work and spend my life doing that. I can stay here in a tent and I get free money. I get free food. I can have a party every night. See, those are the blood-sucking leeches you've got to get rid of.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just heading towards, you know, some of those people are by choice homeless because they're lazy, no good people.
Absolutely.
But there are some, and, you know, the ones that, the adults can make their own choices, but it's the little kids that have to follow suit. They need to do something to change the way they govern there. It could fall off into the ocean.
Yeah, but you know, what happened here with this Chesa Boudin being appointed as the new district attorney? As of this morning, there is no law. There is only chaos. There is no environment. It's all filth. There is no right and wrong because it's all wrong. And there is no correction to a problem that society's let fester into a cancer. And absolutely, if I lived there as a business owner or whatever, I can guarantee you what? I would be looking for an out by 3 o'clock this afternoon to get out of there in any way, shape, or form. Even if it meant filing bankruptcy and losing almost everything I had. I would not put up with this filth and this chaos that these stupid, demented Democrats are allowing to happen in San Francisco.
Oh, no, I totally agree. You know, and I think if several of those business owners would stand up and say, enough is enough. And I don't know whether it'd change anything, but it'd sure make them feel better. And they could do whatever they wanted to do with their business. You know, if they want to, like you said, close up and maybe move somewhere else.
What is the protection, though? Think about this. What is the protection for the property owner or the business owner? Tell me one thing. What can they do? Think about this, Donna. What can they do to protect their business and the environment around their business? What can they do without them, the business owners, getting in more trouble than the people that are perpetrating all this filth? What can they do?
Absolutely nothing.
There you go.
Right now.
That's my point. You hit it right on the head. These people are subjected to human feces and urine and needles, and they can't do anything except accept it. Well, I can't accept filth, and I'll tell you what. I think I'd love to see some of these businesses put up some wire posts and everything and wire the front door to a 220 and light up some of these people. Be the light of their life, because it might set them on their rear ends and put them on a pathway to doing something.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that next. If they could cordon off their business, it's not just the front doors; it's the back and the alley.
You got it.
I mean, it's a filthy mess. I'm ashamed of the way they have let that state, and it's all over the state. It's not just San Francisco.
Yeah, and look at Salt Lake City, though, Donna. Look at Salt Lake City. They've incorporated the same kind of stupidity in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, well, look who they have in the Senate and the Congress there. That should tell you something.
There you go. Hey, thank you for your call. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And you know what? Just a real quick thing, about your show yesterday. I did not get to listen to the whole thing, but I did listen to about probably the last half hour, 45 minutes. You do so much for our communities and our veterans. You and Deanne both. I can't thank you enough. To me, it's very personal. I love the veterans. I love, our friends. David Fairchild is adorable, and I have the utmost respect for him and his wife, Susan. They put up with George and I. But, you're always out there in the forefront. You're always willing to help us. You helped us on the flag education up in the park. You always do an excellent job.
Well,
and I just wanted to say thank you.
That means
so
a lot.
Much.
Thank you, and I'll say it again. I'm blessed to be where I am today because I was born in the greatest country in the world, the greatest country. No other country means anything to me like my country, the USA. Donna, God bless you. Thank you.
You bet, John. Right there with you, my friend. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I right now have to tell you about our dear friends at Barry Equipment and Rental. And I lost them. There they are, Barry Equipment and Rental, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, and also 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin. And the Nampa location, they've got all the big dudes to take care of the lifting, the digging, the pushing, the carrying. Oh, yeah. The grading, the leveling. All the Doosan wheel loaders and excavators with low rate financing and excellent rebates, by the way. Also, Bobcat, they got all the Bobcats, all the different sizes. You better stop in and check it out today. Barry Equipment and Rental. These are really, really nice people, knowledgeable people to help you. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location for Barry Equipment and Rental. Now, I'm going to do a weather forecast, and then I've got another story that will just absolutely knock you on your hind pockets, and it just shows the stupidity. I'm just going to tease the story a little bit this way. This person is an instructor at the University of California in Berkeley. And I'll tell you right up front, he's a jackass. And I'll tell you why in a minute. Caller, you got to stand by because I've got to get a weather forecast on here. And the weather brought to you this hour by our friends at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Absolutely. I want to remind you, they got a new gal helping them over there, Amy Poole. Welcome to the organization, Amy. And don't forget that they provide the best in hearing health services for you at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And I urge you to remember their brand brand new number, 417-8799. That number again to call for a hearing screening, 417-8799. We'll tell you more right after Gina's weather.
We're looking at a fairly mild day as we are making our way through the work week. Here's a look at your weather forecast for the 12th. Mostly sunny skies. We are expecting a high of 57. A little bit of a breeze, but honestly, we are going to be in this air stagnation advisory. That means that we don't have a lot of breeze pushing through that smoke and all of the dust and everything from harvest silt. That's going to be laying low in the valley. For tonight, mostly cloudy skies. We are expecting a low of 31. Tomorrow, sunny skies with a high of 57. Overnight low of 27. By Thursday, hopefully we're going to be breaking out of that air stagnation advisory. Partly sunny skies, high of about 60, east winds at about 7 miles an hour. For Friday, mostly cloudy skies and 60, and then for Saturday, looks like mostly sunny and 50. That's a look at your weather forecast for Tempest Ranch.
I want to urge you, if you're noticing any decline in the hearing, you'd better get a hold of Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids today. With the holidays coming up, you don't want to just be sitting there out of the conversation. Call for a hearing screening today at 417-8799. And that's, of course, our friends at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Caller, you waited. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hi. Zeb, I just had to say something about this San Francisco deal. It's sick, sick, sick. And you darn near ruined my day, but I'm glad you did it. And by the way, a word about your anniversary. 48 big ones, bud.
Yes, sir.
You're working on it. Keep going.
I am going to, and I
get a good start.
Thank you. I'm so blessed, and I appreciate your remarks. And I want to say something to you real quick. I hesitate sometimes on the content of various stories to put on this program. I really weigh out whether I want to talk about them or not. But when we see things like what are going on in California, and they're also going on in Austin, Texas, and Jacksonville, Florida, Chicago, etc. It's a crisis of a cancer encroachment of chaos in this country that's got to be recognized, and it's got to be stopped.
Absolutely, yes. Yep.
Well, I appreciate your call.
Yes, and guys like you are a good contribution to get that off of the rock bottom. To get her running, so thanks for what you do. And,
well, thank you.
And maybe people will begin to listen.
Thank you, sir. God bless you, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Bye.
This story, bear with me. It's not going to take me that long to explain it, but I think you're going to absolutely be shocked. A guy by the name of Jackson Kernion. Hold on, caller. I've got to get this in. He is a graduate student instructor at the University of California in Berkeley. He has come out and said that rural health care should be very expensive, and that expense should be borne by those to live in rural America. And he said rural America should pay much more for gas taxation and everything else because rural America, are not living like they should. And he goes on to say that they should be living in cities. He condemned all of rural America. I'm not making this up. Believe me, I when I read this morning, I about fell over. He said that we are stupid. He said that we as a group are bad people who have made bad life decisions. And he said that this nostalgia for some imagined pastoral way of life is stupid. And we should shame people who aren't living in the city and pro-city. Now, I told you can't make things like this up. But it shows how absolutely insane, ridiculous, and totally unintelligent our university and college system is becoming. Not once in all of his jackass remarks Does he ever make any acknowledgement or anything that has to do with, but the people in rural America are the ones that grow the food to help keep your life going, you completely clown. I got to stop. I just get so irate when people living in a city like Berkeley or anywhere else in this country absolute demean and chastise and ridicule people that live in rural America, in the flyover country. What would these people do to eat? And for heaven's sakes, why would anyone want to leave rural America and move to the cesspools of American cities? And this guy is teaching and instructing young minds at the University of California in Berkeley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Zeb. Hey, who you're just talking about, it's not what I called in for, but that strikes a real nerve with me due to the fact, where the heck does he think he's going to get his food from?
He doesn't have a clue. These people are stupid.
He's going to get his clothes.
No.
Where does he think it comes from? The supermarket
does
not just magically have little elves in the back that make it. It just doesn't work that way. That's what I called about, was the whole thing of people coming from California. It bothers me due to the fact that I know not everybody has the same mindset as the people living in San Francisco or, some of these totally corrupt and ruined cities in California or anywhere else in the country. But it bothers me when they come here and then they bring their politics with them and try to change what we have into what they left.
Yeah, but Riley, that's true. That's true. Wait a minute. That's true also with the refugees coming into this country. And everybody praises them. Hang on a second. We both can't talk at the same time. Everybody praises them for being here. Oh, how wonderful. They're bringing in all this diversity and all this culture. Wait a minute. It's also a fragmentation of our culture. It's a fragmentation of our ways. It's a fragmentation of our Constitution and our value system, and I'm not in favor of it at all, and I don't care whose feelings are hurt.
I totally agree with you. If they want to come here, I have no problem with people immigrating to the United States to work, to better themselves, to, more importantly, and this is way more important, to become a citizen.
There you go.
And when you become a citizen in the United States, it's not to try to change the United States to the way it was where you came from, because that's why you left. You want to come here, you want to be part of our culture and a part of our great country, and you want to respect it, and you want to work hard and reap the rewards of it. Great, come on over. We'll welcome you with open arms. But I'm not going to have you come over to my country and try and change it to the crap hole it was that you came from.
Very well stated.
I'm up for that.
Yeah, I agree with you.
This is about.
Totally agree with you, Riley, as normally I always do. Thank you. And, I just see a crumbling and a fraction of what our culture should be and used to be, and I'm very concerned. Thank you for your call, as always.
One more thing before I go, I'll make this real quick. I listened to a lot of old-time radio shows from back in the day when it was on the radio. They had shows. There was one called X-1. It's a program. And one of those episodes talked about spacemen who went to another planet, and they landed, and they ran into an alien creature. And on this planet, there was thousands and thousands of big cities that were abandoned. And it come to find out towards the end, the reason why they were abandoned and condemned and dying was due to the fact they had no respect for one another. And if you didn't respect them, you got a disease and ended up dying off. So that's kind of what I see happening with our cities. They're just dying off.
It's happening, my friend. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I want to remind you about our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, they've got the tires for driving in any kind of weather, and we get it all right here in southern Idaho. I mean, they've got the tires for your cars, pickups, SUVs, horse trailers, boat trailers. They've got all the tires. They've got the road control tire, the open range tires. They've got the winter tires like the Winter Cat. Oh, my goodness, they've got all the tire chains. What are you waiting for? Get ready for weather and be ready for safe driving, too, in any weather from your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. They're the best at what they do, all 7 locations. Also with the best in brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland and Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And they are. We're going to take a little... there's other stories I wanted to talk about this morning that would knock your socks off. One about Christmas trees back in Wisconsin. Oh, they're no longer Christmas trees. New governor, Democrat, liberal. Ay. Anyway, we'll talk about that later on this morning or tomorrow morning. But right now we're going to head for the news from CBS, and we're going to listen to how the Democrats are just trying to shake things up in a bottle and pour it out on the ground and make it worse than what anything ever was in this country. We'll be back in 7 minutes. I have never seen a country do all they can to hurt a president's administration. Unbelievable. Morning. Zep at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations with all the tires you need, no matter what the weather throws at you. Stop in and see them today. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, along with Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, this good word for Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're all at the Georgia disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this free land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand. Always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Oh, so it's your turn to host Thanksgiving this year, and you got like 24 people coming, and you haven't cleaned up or cleaned out the house. Well, you better get a dumpster. Get a dumpster from Western Waste Services. Call them up, tell them what you need. They'll drop it by. You fill it up, they'll come and get it. It's as easy as that. They take care of trash. You better believe it. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on the landline, call them, 734-6969, Western Waste Services. Also want to remind you, too, about our good old buddy Rick over at Mountain Transmissions at 504 East Main Street, right across from Stokes Food Center. He wants to wish you a very, very happy Thanksgiving. And don't forget, if the old transmission in your automobile's not really going where it should, free estimates, free diagnosis, you better get a hold of him today. Call 678-9110, Mountain Transmissions, wishing you and yours a happy Thanksgiving. There you go. Right around the corner, too. By the way, yesterday, I was into Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation for another treatment on my knees. And Nick Greenwell and the staff, they are phenomenal people. They really, really know, and they can help you get back to being you. I urge you to write the number down, make a call, and let them help you. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, 678-1191. All the exercises, and of course the only one of its kind in this area, the hydrotherapy pool. Ooh, I've been in there a million times. Really helps. You call today. Let them help you. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 678-1191. And real quick, and I mean real quick because I don't want to keep my friend waiting, I want to remind you too that the iComfort Wi-Fi thermostat from Lennox is featuring remote control control access, so you can adjust your home's temperature from anywhere. I mean, you better check it out at Ramsey Heating and Electric on Lenox, because right now they're offering up to $1,600 in rebates on a new home comfort system. Stay comfortable. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459. We started a segment quite some time ago on Tuesdays during this half hour about energy, and I have maintained on my program that I only want the best people. If I can't get the best people as spokespeople for the different discussion points, I won't do the program. I won't do the segment. That's why I've got one of the very best in the entire United States, and he's with the American Energy Alliance, Dan Kish. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm well, and I hope you are too, sir.
I am, but I don't know if you heard about it or not, but the records just came out, and I can see now many of the so-called climate scarecrows and global warming kooks are running around, burning their hair with lighter fluid, going, oh, what are we going to do now? Because October was the coldest month in Idaho's history.
Well, how did that happen?
Gee.
You know what's funny too, Zeb, is I was just reading yesterday about how the renewable, they've had like 10 days in a row of no wind on BPA's wind system.
Yeah.
You know, they've been like everybody else, Idaho Power and everybody else, no wind. So they're having to make it up with natural gas and hydro and everything else, because apparently they didn't plan for no wind. You know, when the wind doesn't blow, you don't get power. It's just like President Trump says, honey, we can't watch TV tonight.
Yeah.
No wind.
You know, really, I'm laughing, but it's not funny. But these people have convinced a lion's share of the American public of this lunacy, and it is lunacy. I don't care how you put it in the oven, what kind of crust you put on it. When you bake it, it's going to come out lunacy of going and creating a supposed new energy source of nothing more than wind and solar, when you already have a very, very efficient energy program that's growing and getting bigger and better all the time. Why replace it with baked lunacy?
Yeah, well, I mean, part of it is there's always somebody, follow the money. There's always that aspect of it, and of course these things are subsidized, and so they build the business, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger based on the subsidies, and then they come back next time, and they've got more people and more money dependent upon it, and so they demand that they extend them. Right now, that's what's happening in Washington, D.C. The wind and solar tax subsidies are supposed to go away within the next year or so, but there's a bunch of people running around pushing for more and more and more of that. Same with the electric vehicle subsidies, but these programs never go away because they build a business based on it, and then they use the money they're making from the business, from the taxpayers, to push for more of it. And in the meantime, places that have gotten very good at pushing for more and more and more of this, like California, have to turn their lights off, and it's just nonsense. Common sense will tell a person that we know what works, and that's the stuff that's been tested, and throwing all of that out. I mean, if something, it's pretty simple. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You know, Dan, 70%, I checked with some meteorologists earlier this morning. I made a call, and I also saw a news story on Fox and Friends that reaffirmed my thoughts on this. 70% of the United States right now, this minute, is in a deep freeze that's way ahead of schedule, if you will, with snow closing down airports and everything else. 70% of the country. What do the climate change clowns do to back up their extremely Swiss cheese theories when this happens?
Well, I mean, literally, Zeb, they got an answer for everything. If it's cold, it's global warming. Climate change. If it's hot, it's climate change. If it's dry, it's climate change. If it's raining too much, it's climate change. They basically selected, they've basically taken something that all of us used to talk about, give us something to talk about when we pull up to the gas pump and we're chatting with somebody, and they've turned it into something that somehow we're supposed to be, if we just give the government control of it, everything would be fine. And, of course, the government can't run much of anything very well. So the idea that politicians are somehow going to solve this for us is nonsense. I mean, it's weather. We've been getting weather since Hector was a pup.
You know, the one thing that bothers me is there is no advantage or no recourse for the American consumer. And tell me if I'm wrong on this. I was thinking about it driving home last night. Food prices, they can dictate at the store what they're going to be. If you don't want to pay that for avocados, oranges, a loaf of bread, a gallon of milk, hey, you're going to go without. Fuel prices, if you don't want to pay that much per gallon for diesel or gasoline, hey, go without. We don't care. I mean, the American consumer is totally subservient and held hostage to what major corporations want to provide as a product price. And energy right now, I see skyrocketing if we go through this idiocy of transition to wind and solar.
Yeah, well, I mean, ultimately that's what it's designed to do, because you're taking something that can be there all the time, and so you only have to pay for one source. You just decide how much you're going to make at any given time, and you're replacing it with something that's there 25 to 35% of the time, and then has to have a backup source that you also have to pay for. And when you throttle that source up and down all the time, it loses its efficiency. It actually pollutes more than if they were just running nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the deal. But see, the money goes into somebody's pocket on the other side of things, and you know, that's what's so troublesome about it, because it gets very complex, and it gets you know, if you're explaining yourself, you're losing. But in essence, hiding behind climate change and global warming as a means for some people to get rich off of folks by jacking up their energy bills is not good policy.
Absolutely. I want to talk further about that after we take this call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air, please.
Good morning. Well, it's all about United Nations Agenda 21 to control every human activity on the planet. They don't care what it costs, and they have an agenda. It's to control people, and I'd like him to comment about that. I'm a plant scientist. I have written 5 letters to the CEO and of Idaho Power and Idacorp, and have never received a reply yet. But carbon dioxide is such a small amount of greenhouse gas, it's just ridiculous. And without carbon dioxide, in green plants, in photosynthesis, we don't eat and we don't breathe. They never mention that. So I'd like to comment about that aspect.
All right, caller, I appreciate that very much. Thank you. And Dan, let me preface your remark by saying this man that just called in is a very well-known plant scientist, and he knows what he's talking about. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, you betcha. Well, it is part of I mean, let's face it, the whole reason everybody got so upset at President Trump for pulling us, or starting the withdrawal process from the Paris Accords, Paris Treaty, was because it's an international governmental system. You know, all the governments sit there and say, well, listen, how do we gain more power over our people in all of our respective nations? And how do we direct funding to the people that we like by picking and choosing the energy sources we've got? And Project 21, I mean, this is what the UN has sort of been for a long, long time. And it ought to spook people, because you've got all these, you know, a lot of these countries are nothing but kleptocracies. They're people who steal from their people. They're just looking to get their leg up over the rest of the public's back. That's what they're doing. I mean, you don't have a lot of countries like the United States in the United Nations, and yet they all go along with it because it's all in their benefit. That's what's so striking about what President Trump did. He said, "No, I'm not going to make our people suffer, so that we can all suffer together under some suicide pact that we're going to go forward just to make the United Nations more powerful." So I'm sorry to hear that the utilities aren't answering his letters. I mean, again, I think ultimately you got to go to the politicians who regulate those utilities. The only people they'll respond to are the politicians, which is unfortunate, but they're a monopoly. But you go to the politicians and you make your complaint to them and say, please carry this message forward for me, because otherwise they're going to ignore you.
Well, I can tell, and I can stand up and give validity to what he said, because it's happened to me. Idaho Power has put their smug, arrogant nose up in the air, and they will not answer any questions that we've had from this program regarding going 100% green in about 20 years. I've asked questions, and they will not respond by coming on the program. They have treated me like an orphan child, and they will not come on the program. They won't answer any questions. They are basically, and I hope they hear this, cowards hiding under their desk.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of utilities that won't respond. They just don't. The only people they listen to are the people that control their business. And the people that control their business are the Public Utility Commission and the politicians.
Right.
And the public utilities, they're supposed to work for the politicians.
Absolutely. Dan, we've got another call, and Wheels, watch the feedback a little bit over there on the line, if you would, my friend. Thank you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air, please.
Well, you're right, because, I've called Idaho Power numerous times trying to get them to respond, and they won't answer the questions. They just pass me off to somebody else. And, I was hoping that Zeb was able to get them on the air. And they, in some respect, in one instance, they were so rude to Mr. Zeb Bell, a public servant. And this program is important to this valley. And they couldn't have cared less. And the arrogance is just appalling. So I'm going to call the governor today. I'm going to call Speaker Bedke today. I'm going to Idaho Public Utilities Commission. And I'm going to start digging. Because, you see, they think they've got this thing done where they're going to close all these coal-fired power plants, and there isn't a thing wrong with them. And then the governor, of course, we're repeating this, that the governor of Wyoming is going to ship coal through Mexico, not through Portland, because the port is in Portland where the environmental insanity is at a fever pitch, but he's going to ship it through Mexico to China, and the wind blows from the west, brother. I'll hang up.
I know this caller, Dan, and he really does his homework, and I really appreciate his comments. Go ahead and refer back to him, please.
Yeah, your caller's right. That's what's happening, because places like Oregon and Washington are blocking coal ports to go. They're going to go through Mexico, which makes sense. Well, it doesn't make sense, but it's the only way around it. And the Chinese burn 6 times as much coal as we do. 6 times. That's been going up. I remember when it was and it wasn't that long ago. I mean, I'm not dating myself that much by mentioning, but it wasn't that long ago when it was about 1 to 1. They are building as many plants right now in China as the entire United States has in terms of capacity. That's on top of burning 6 times as much already. They sit over there burning coal, making cheap electricity so that they could smelt steel, make solar panels, and ship them to California, where the government mandates that any new housing has to have a solar panel on it. This is how stupid this is. But, that's what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, it is just a waste of money. It's a waste of, it's strengthening them. They must just laugh at us every morning.
Absolutely. And this is where I go back to the American consumer again, Dan, and I'm short on time, but like Seattle approves a residential heating oil tax, and they want all residents to get away from heating oil, so they're going to levy a great big, almost 25 cents per gallon heating oil tax on these people to force them to go green energy. And in California, people can't do anything unless they build solar. I mean, this is the land of the free? Are you kidding me?
Yep. No, Zeb, I mean, this is what's happening. What's happened is these greens, they've turned it into a religion in essence, and everybody has to replace, because they're basically urban atheists. And that's what's happened.
Yeah. We have one more call, a little time left. Caller, real fast. Go ahead, please. You're on the air.
Okay, I read this morning there's a city in California that all new construction cannot have natural gas in them for your stove and your fridge or your water heater or whatever, because it puts too much carbon dioxide in the air. Doesn't California understand what carbon dioxide is for?
Evidently not. I can't wait to have Dan respond to this. Caller, thank you very much. I hate to be short, but I'm running out of time. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Dan, I've heard about this community where they've got complete control. What are you going to do? Are you going to sit there on the floor with a butane kind of a camp heater and fry your eggs in the morning? What are you going to do?
Yeah, well, they want everything they want to go everything electric. This is a place where they can't keep the electricity on, Steph.
Yeah.
They have to shut down 2 million people at a time because they won't let them trim any trees along the rights-of-way for the power lines. And they're forcing them to spend all this money. This is Berkeley she's talking about, but there's a whole movement, and it's spreading to urban areas around the country. It's happening on the East Coast as well, where they're trying to, New Jersey's working on a similar plan, where they're trying to take away the ability of people to use natural gas or heating oil or whatever, and go all electric. So anybody who likes to cook on a gas range, forget it. If you want to heat your water with natural gas, which is cheaper than doing it with electricity by far, forget it. If you're going to have a heat pump, which they work in medium temperature places, but they don't work in cold places. You get a 10-degree night or below zero or something like that. Forget about the heat pump.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to do, and the utilities are all in cahoots with it.
Next week, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm going to put you on the spot. Next week on our segment, I want you to tell me if there's any way that I, on this program, or anybody, can start leading the charge for the consumers to fight back and kick the Goliath in the kneecap.
All right.
If you would, I'd sure appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my friend. And again, anytime you get out in this area, man, there's going to be a big steak and possibly an adult beverage for you. Dan Kish, God bless you. American Energy Alliance, thank you.
God bless you, Zeb, and your listeners.
All right, sir. Take care. Thank you. He really knows what's going on with energy, and next week we're going to talk and see what we, the American consumer, to do to fight back. I am so pathetically sick of people, whether it's Idaho Power or whomever, you're going to do this, and you're going to like it. Well, first of all, I don't like anybody pointing their finger at me saying, you're going to do this and you're going to like it, because that just isn't going to happen. Once again, we thank Dan, and we want to remind everybody, all of our great advertisers and wheels. Again, you got to ride that gain over there, please. I'm still hearing some of that feedback. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Joel Heward, his family, and his staff serving you, and always providing the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort. They really care, and they will take care of you. Always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. You know, when there's the passing of a loved one, everything is just absolutely screeching to a halt. Please let the professionals come in and help you and serve you at Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, 436-5636. And Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Wonderful, wonderful people. By the way, I know where there's going to be a big doorbuster sale. Look out, oil the door, oil the hinges. Look out, it's coming off at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. They're going to have a pre-Black Friday sale. It's going to be tomorrow, Wednesday, November 13th. 50% off retail prices on select items. Woo! Doorbuster clearance items. I'm telling you, it's going to be fun, and save you money. And they're going to have drawings held on coming up on Friday the 29th, and also that's going to be November's Black Friday, and you don't have to be present to win. They've got all kinds of fun things going on at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More with Jeff and the entire crew. All the carpeting, all the floor coverings, all the furniture, all the bedroom sets, everything at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. And while I'm ramming and jamming, I've got to tell everybody, too, about our friends that are just waiting for a little bit more snow up in the high country, and that's Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. My goodness, they've got all the snowmobiles, all the snow bikes, and all the accessories. Now, that's not brag. That's a fact. Stop over and see that showroom floor. I don't know how they got everything in there. Wow. And they're waiting to serve you. And also a service department that can keep you running through the season. So make sure you check it out today. Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. Wonderful, wonderful people. And also, when you say wonderful people, you got to incorporate our friends over at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. My, the best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits for you, your family, your business. They really want to make sure that you're taken care of. They care, and they're very responsive to your needs. Call, make an appointment today at 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. We started having this next gentleman on our program on a kind of a semi-regular basis about 2, 3, maybe 4 months ago. And you know who he is. You've probably seen him on television. And he is a former United States congressman from Colorado and also ran for the presidency in 2008. And we say good morning to Mr. Tom Tancredo. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well. And I was talking to your producer there about your lovely weather there, and it sounds like you two, are you doing well also? Beautiful day in the neighborhood.
You know, it really is a beautiful day in the neighborhood. As a matter of fact, October was cold. We set the coldest month of October ever in Idaho's history. And what about Colorado? What's the circumstances back there?
It's been a roller coaster of really cold and really beautiful. And day before yesterday, it was it got down to, I think, 2 or 3 below in the late evening. But today it's 60-something. Yesterday it was about 65. So, like I say, it's not all that unusual for Colorado at this point in time. And we live right at the foot of the Rockies, and so looking out, as I am right now, it's a beautiful day.
Absolutely. Tom, I feel like you've been on the program enough I can call you by your first name, and I think I'm older than you are anyway. But I just want to say this.
You could have done it the first time I was on. It was okay with me.
Well, I appreciate that. Tom, I'll tell you what, I don't know how else to get started on this subject other than saying the United States is in huge trouble. This isn't some kind of a theatrical remark I'm trying to make. We are in huge trouble with no border security at all. I don't care what anybody tries to spin on the Democratic side. I don't care about the Pelosi's and the other people that are trying to say it's a manufactured crisis. I've been there. I've been there many times, and the people that live on the border are in fear for their lives, and now that's coming to fruition after what we saw with that heinous killing a couple of days ago. What are we going to do about this mess on the border?
Well, until I guess we can our friends on the other side, and even some of our Republican colleagues, that the situation is as dire as you have described it, and by the way, I absolutely agree, of course, that it is. Until we can do that, nothing will happen. And you've got this massive, I call it a cabal of open border Democrats and Republicans that have been the stalwart enemies of any sort of true reform. And it's because, of course, the present situation, it serves their purpose. They're fine with the status quo, with open borders, because for the Democrats, naturally it means massive immigration. Look what happened in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
The Virginia election, that was just held, in which pretty much, the Republicans, there's nothing red anymore in Virginia, and they admitted, everybody now understands that was a direct result of massive immigration. They know it. The Democrats talked about it. When in 1970 there was 1 out of 100 people who was foreign-born in Virginia. Today it's 1 out of 10, not 1 out of 9. And so that is what's going to happen to the rest of the country. And it does, as it does, then, of course, the pressure to keep those borders open will remain. Here's the other thing that people have got to become aware of. The horrible event down in Mexico, in which 9 members of a family were killed, a Mormon family, lots more wounded. That's got to, people have to understand that the violence, the ugliness, the corruption that exists in Mexico today, because it is a failed state, it is a narco state, it is controlled by the cartels. And if you wonder about that, when these people are massacred, they are dual citizens, Mexican and American, Mormons, and the President of the United States offers the President of Mexico help in, quote, wiping these people off of the face of the earth, the cartels that did this. The President of Mexico responds with, no, we're not doing that. We tried it. We are exchanging guns for hugs. Hugs. And I'll tell you why. It's because they are dirty. They are corrupt. They are profiting by the activities of the cartels, and they are absolutely petrified of them. So what you've got is a failed narco state called our neighbor. And what we will see, and are seeing absolutely every single day, and I can give you chapter and verse of the corruption that is coming to our side of the border, because corruption does not stop at a border. When you have so much money and so much of a threat, actual physical threat to your existence, you tend to look at things a little differently. And all of a sudden, we're building our wall down by El Paso. The mayor of El Paso says, we don't want a wall. It will impede commerce. Well, right. The only kind of commerce that our wall impedes is the commerce in drugs and in human smuggling. It is not a place where people come across to sell trinkets in the local marketplace. So it tells you, and believe me, I could go on and on, the kind of violence that has occurred, the threats to people. We have a little tiny town. I don't even know if I should mention the name, but it's a little tiny town about 30 or 40 miles east of where we were on the border. And it is completely Hispanic, all right? It's 100% Hispanic. And the mayor of the city council, but it's a very small little area, very remote. They are desperate for a fence, for a wall, something. They contacted us and asked us to please, the county commissioners voted to have us come and put up some sort of barrier along their property, along their city line, because it's right on the border. They became so threatened, and things happened that honestly you can hardly imagine. But so threatened by the cartels as a result of it that they came back to us and said, we better not do this. I can again tell you some of the things that happened to some of the people down there, and the law is nowhere around really. I mean, it's miles and miles away. It's the Wild West in many ways. You hardly blame them. They're isolated. They are confronted by the cartels who own the area and own the people. And when you try your best to be lawful and do what's right for your own citizens, you end up being confronted by the most horrible things you can imagine.
Tom, I've got to ask you a very important question in a moment, but I'm going to take a call first and ask the caller to be brief. Go ahead, caller, quickly. You're on the air.
Certainly. If you drive down the freeway in Idaho, you go under overpasses all the time. Down in California, Mexico, routinely you see people hanging from bridges, and this is the cartel saying, listen, do not fool with us, because this is what's going to happen to you. Can you imagine driving down the road in America, seeing bodies? And this is a common occurrence. This isn't something that happens just here and there. Can you imagine seeing a body hanging from the overpass in America? This is Mexico, and they're right across the border and coming our way.
Tom, respond to the caller, please.
Caller is absolutely right. He's absolutely right. They've hung bodies from bridges, and then they'll hang these big signs that are recruitment posters, essentially, recruiting for the cartels. And these massive, it's like an outdoor sign on the road, but these are just hanging from bridges, essentially next to these. The place is a narco state. And yes, you can go down in certain areas, you can still go to the beach and have a nice time and go, well, gee, I didn't see anything like that. I don't understand. Well, believe me when I'm telling you that the only reason you're not seeing anything like that where you go is because the cartels choose not to do something there for a reason. Maybe it's because they want to encourage the people visiting the place, tourists. But it isn't because they can't do it there. Mm-hmm. They can't terrorize the people. They most certainly can. And then, of course, Culiacan. Look at Culiacan. It's a major city. A huge battle erupts between the cartel and the army because the army had arrested El Chapo's son. Mm-hmm. And the army is defeated by the cartels, who are using armored cars, huge heavy weapons. They kill, we don't really know how many people armed in the army and citizens on the ground. And eventually the president of Mexico tells the army, let them go. They won. The cartels defeated an army in Culiacan a month ago with horrendous results in terms of lives lost. What does that tell the rest of the people who live there?
Absolutely.
And the Can the government protect them against the cartel? Hell no. So why would you possibly go against them? If they want to run drugs through your property, if they want you to be part of the process that that makes the drugs or takes it, you're going to do anything you want. You're going to look the other way when they tell you to, because if you don't, it's not just you that will get killed. It's your mother and father and children and any family members. They are at risk of being killed in the most horrific way. They're the parts of their bodies delivered to your house on your doorstep. So, are you kidding me? You think really and truly you're going to say, "Oh God, don't worry, I'll stand firm against these cartels"? It's amazing, buddy.
Tom, I've got to go back and ask this question. And you being a former United States congressman, you served us. What has happened to the backbone, the spine of our congressmen and our senators that are back on the Potomac, that I honestly feel after maybe no more than 48 hours, we could go down to that border and be John Wayne and say, hey, no more coming across, no more anything as far as any illicit activities. Bang, we've got you. Why do we send our troops in harm's way all over the world, Tom, and we can't protect our own citizenry right here in this United States?
We could do it, of course. We choose not to. And they choose not to for the same reason almost. I mean, it's not as blatant as the corruption that I've described in Mexico and the cities along the border. But if you refuse to vote to secure the border because you know you're getting a lot of money for your campaign from businesses, from major corporations, from smaller groups that all depend on the cheap labor that is represented by massive immigration, legal and illegal, then in a way it's almost the same. It's almost bribery, and it's in a way it's exactly the same as the bribery that goes on the border. Only this is just to get you to not vote for secure borders. Let me tell you, when you say, "Can we do this?" This was now, oh my goodness. Well, I was in Congress, so it had to be over 11. So it's probably 12 or 13, maybe 14 years ago. I was in your lovely state because I wanted to see a particular experiment that they were trying about 30 miles north of Bonners Ferry. And, of course, it was right on the border. Mm-hmm. And it was an exercise using 100 Marines, the Forest Service and the Border Patrol came together for the purpose of trying to see whether they could actually secure 100 miles of our northern border, because of course it's a tough area, right? I mean, and so geographically, mm-hmm. And so because of posse comitatus laws, they did not want the military to actually interdict anybody on the border. They just wanted them to be the eyes and ears. The 100 Marines, 100 miles. And then they would coordinate with the Border Patrol and with the Forest Service to actually interdict the people. Well, they had 3 radar stations and 3 these UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles, drones, we now call them UAVs, we talked about that. And these things were, they were like flying lawnmowers. You could hear them because they're propeller driven. Anyway, they're nothing like what we have today, of course. And we were able, I sat in a little trailer with one of the young men, the Marines that was actually running the drone, and watching. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're watching, and here comes down the mountain 3 UAVs. ATVs with drugs. People carrying drugs on the back, right, of these ATVs, and they're coming down, and we could watch it. And he, gets up on the radio and says, "Here are the coordinates," and by golly, the Border Patrol interdicts and says, "Hey, welcome to America. Spread them." It was 2:00 in the morning. You could see everything coming across that border, including deer. You could see everything. You could distinguish people from animals, and it worked wonderfully. When I left there, I asked the head of the Marine detachment, "What do you think about this? What's your reaction to it?" And he said, "The best thing we've ever done." And I said, "Why is that?" He said, "Because it's, number one, real time. Number two, it is stopping people from coming into our country who shouldn't be here. And number three, it's in the most rugged area you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect for us." 100 Marines, 100 miles. Yes, we can secure the border. Absolutely secure it. We can do it there in horrendously rugged area. We can do it on the border in the south, and it would be the best place to actually train our military.
Right.
I mean, unfortunately, where are we sending them most of the time? It's to deserts and hilly areas. I mean, it's perfect, right? We could do that. We choose not to, and that's important for people to understand. It is not a technical problem. It's a political problem.
It's absolutely horrendous how bad this United States has let itself change its character to basically massage lawlessness, and I'll stand by that statement. Tom Tancredo, former United States Congressman and the author of the book called In Mortal Danger, The Battle for America's Border and Security. Tom, there's so many things I want to ask you, but I'm out of time. Please come back in the near future. God bless, and if I don't talk to you before, happy Thanksgiving.
And to you and your listeners and all the folks up there in God's country.
Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate his opinion and his actual tellings about what he did and what he fought for while he was a United States Congressman, Tom Tancredo, and I'm going to have him back in the very, very near future. Politics ruining people's lives for two things: politics and money. Shameful. Right now, let's go to the weather forecast, and the weather brought to you by Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. And they, of course, the professionals that are providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. They know, they care, and they can help you with the tax return preparations, tax planning, business consulting, retirement planning. The list goes on because they are the professionals serving you. And don't forget, they've got two office locations, Burley and Rupert, Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. Caller, the weather forecast. I'll be right with you. Here's Gina with the weather.
We're looking at a fairly mild day as we are making our way through the work week. Here's a look at your weather forecast for the 12th. Mostly sunny skies. We are expecting a high of 57. A little bit of a breeze, but honestly, we are going to be in this air stagnation advisory. That means that we don't have a lot of breeze pushing through that smoke and all of the dust and everything from harvest silt. That's going to be laying low in the valley. For tonight, mostly cloudy skies. We are expecting a low of 31. Tomorrow, sunny skies with a high of 57. Overnight low of 27. By Thursday, hopefully we're going to be breaking out of that air stagnation advisory. Partly sunny skies, high of about 60. East winds at about 7 miles an hour. For Friday, mostly cloudy skies and 60. And then for Saturday, looks like mostly sunny and 50. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zephyr Durant.
Thank you, and brought to you by Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, providing accounting services to you, your family, and your business. 1710 Overland in Burley and 620 5th Street in Rupert. Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. Caller, go ahead quickly. You're on the air.
Yes, I've joked in the past about having Alan West come and take Simpson's place, but I would gladly accept Mr. Tom Tancredo. I mean, if Colorado is God's country, really, but the people are insane, Idaho was God's country too. I mean, if you're worried about mountains and lakes, you just got to go north, like we know. And so, yeah, maybe we could get him to come over here and get rid of Mr. Simpson. Because at least Mr. Tancredo was visible, did something, and I always knew he was doing something. I never hear nothing from Mr. Simpson. Mike Simpson, isn't he a great man? I'm going to hang up. Bye.
Appreciate it, Randy. God bless you, man. Thank you. You know, I'm not just going to point my finger at one politician. I'm not going to point my finger at one congressman or senator. I'm going to point my finger at every doggone one of them for not having the backbone, the guts, if you will, to do what they were elected to do, and that's serve us. Not serve illegal aliens, not serve refugees, not serve or be afraid of what people are going to say or think about them, but serve us. I point my finger at every one of them. Now, I don't give a rip if I get one dime in advertising from any of our senators or congressmen going into the next election season. Not one. I don't care. Because I'm going to condemn them and damn them if they don't start doing a better job for the American public. And you should too. Don't forget our friends at Lennox and Magic Valley's great Ramsey Heating and Electric. Boy, those are folks that really care, and they're entering their 7th decade, as a matter of fact. Well, combined, they have the iComfort Wi-Fi thermostat, featuring Lennox's remote control access, so you can adjust your home's temperature from anywhere. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox offering up to $1,600 in rebates on a new home comfort system. So make yourself comfortable. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459. The one thing I want to make absolutely clear to you folks out in the audience, Deanna and I don't care about the money from politicians. If I have to exist and pay my bills on money from politicians and their advertising, fine, I'll turn the program off. Because I guarantee you I am fed up to the top of my head with the not do anything attitude of politicians and only getting lip service in return. All of us should condemn them for a very poor job of serving the public. Right now we're going to go to the CBS News, and we'll be back with Dr. History coming up momentarily. Don't go away. Oh, my, we're in hour number 3, and we made it this far. We might as well keep on going. As a matter of fact, on a Tuesday, November the 12th, Zeb at the Ranch, and, of course, I really want to give a great big shout-out to our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations involved in providing the best of all the tires to get you through any kind of weather conditions. Stop in and see them today. Along with Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. We're going to go to our guest in just a moment. I want to remind you again that the iComfort Wi-Fi thermostat from Lennox is featuring remote control access so that you can adjust your home's temperature from anywhere, any place. Don't forget to check it out today at Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. And along with Lennox, they're offering up to $1,600 in rebates on a new home comfort system. So keep comfy. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459. By the way, seniors, listen, I absolutely recommend that you call our friends at Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living on Alfresco Road. If you have not seen the property, if you have not seen the beautiful rooms, if you have not met the wonderful people, I urge you to call now today, 650-4979. Arrange for an appointment to go see the property, because this is a great place where seniors are living the good life with friends. 3 meals a day, housekeeping, local transportation, it is for you. Seniors, don't forget, call Matt or Kelly Wiggins at 208-650-4979, Greystone Crossing, Independent Senior Living. It is time for my friend. He's here in the studio with his entourage, Dr. History.
Good morning, Zeb.
What's going on in your world?
Well, I've always got projects. I never lack for things to keep me busy.
You know, and somebody said to me, I'll never forget it, a couple of years ago, they said, well, you're getting up there in age. You're probably going to retire to the wheelchair and not do anything. I'm busier now at 72 than I was, I think, 10 years ago.
I am enjoying it, and the nice thing is when I go into a store and I run into somebody, I can sit and talk to them for a half hour and not feel like I got to hurry up. So I go in to get a gallon of milk. It takes me an hour.
There you go. Hey, what are we going to talk about today?
We're going to talk about something that I'm going to bet most people would not associate with the Old West. Okay?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
How about baseball? Baseball in the Old West.
In the Old West. Now, how old?
We're going to get into that.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
So,
all right.
Okay, so this year, 2019, is kind of an anniversary of a couple of events that happened in history in the American West. So when the Golden Spike was gently tapped into place in the ceremonial tie at Promontory Point in Utah, and that symbolized the completion of course, we know the Transcontinental Railroad, and that was on May 10th, 1869. So it opened the West as never before. So now earlier that year, the Red Stockings of Cincinnati became the first all-salaried professional team in the up-and-coming sport of baseball. Undefeated as the year progressed, the Red Stockings rode the rails in September to introduce professional baseball beyond the Mississippi, to take it west. So the railroad was the main reason why baseball was able to head out west. Mm-hmm. So now the West offered opportunity and adventure, attracting people from around the world. You know, of course, they flocked to California during the gold rush of 49, the Comstock Silver Lode in 59. Now in 1869, these professionals came west to demonstrate their professional wealth of baseball riches to some pretty well overmatched, but some eager ball clubs that wanted to be a part of the Red Stockings historic season.
What year was that?
That was 1869.
So they're out there playing baseball, and somebody hits a home run, and he's just made it around second base, and there's an Indian attack. That doesn't happen a lot.
No, you got to be careful. But there was never a team like the 1869 Cincinnati Red Stockings. And I'll get into more of the name stuff a little bit. Okay. But anyway, they attracted a bunch
You never know who's in the bleachers.
That's right. They attracted a bunch of astonishing baseball talent that registered the only undefeated season in professional baseball history.
No kidding.
The only one. Their center fielder, and who was also their manager, a guy by the name of Harry Wright, had a great baseball mind. He invented what we now accept teamwork techniques, such as, players calling for a fly ball, backing each other up in the field, using substitute pitchers to relieve starting pitchers, and practicing so that they could get better and better and better.
All this back in 1869.
1869, yeah. Now, he had a brother.
I wonder if the Cubs signed up for that.
I don't know. His brother, a guy by the name Smilin' George.
Oh, I remember him.
Do you?
Yeah.
He
was the brother to Laughin' Billy.
No, he wasn't. His brother, Smilin' George, had a big old grin of pearly white teeth that matched his star power of the game. He was the first real superstar of baseball.
So he was the Mickey Mantle of that time.
He was the guy. He was a shortstop. He had tremendous range, and he could hit like nothing else. I mean,
really?
he could bat, just amazing. And now another guy, they describe him as a bushy, side-whiskered Asa Brainerd, was their unmatched pitcher, and he could throw speedballs and spinners and stuff that would just baffle the people.
Now, I'm going to ask you a dumb question here. The baseballs themselves.
Yes.
Were the baseballs then constructed similarly to what we have today?
You know, I do not know. I don't know how.
Were they the same size?
I don't know that either.
Let's do something on that equipment.
I'll see if I can find that out.
Okay.
But anyway, this pitcher, Asa Bernard, became known. His nickname became Ace.
Ace.
Which became synonymous with any team's star pitcher.
Bring in your ace.
Yeah. So with a solid cast of support, the Red Stockings were unbeatable as they took on the powers of organized baseball in the East. They beat everybody back there, and the game was very different than the version played today. Pitchers actually threw the ball underhand.
Oh, really?
Underhand, and there wasn't a glove to be found. No mittens, no mitts. Which led to some black and blue hands, sometimes some broken fingers, but. You know, everybody fell in love with baseball.
So when did they transition to overhand?
You know, I don't know. I'm not sure when they actually made that move.
Oh,
so,
okay.
But anyway, as Easterners joined the flood of people heading to San Francisco to find gold in 1849, few of them bought the enthusiasm for what they called New York baseball, as outlined in what they called the Knickerbocker Rules of 1845.
Really?
So in early 1851, the local newspapers were reporting on baseball games being played on the plaza in San Francisco. Many of the participants thought to be transplant of the New York Knickerbockers baseball club from back east. So, you know, these guys came west and they loved baseball, so they organized some teams and began playing.
Yeah.
So in 1859, the first organized team on the Pacific Coast, they were called the San Francisco Eagles. And they were established. That was the first. Then the next February in San Francisco, they played to a 33-33 tie with the Red Rovers of Sacramento.
Boy, that was a defensive struggle, wasn't it?
Yeah. Now, in September, the Eagles traveled to Sacramento in a rematch for the state title, and they won 31-17. But Zeb, no mitts, no leather on their hand.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be hard to catch a.
What about the dimensions of the field?
And I don't know that either.
Boy, you got a lot of work to do.
Hey, I'm just giving you a few facts. Well, in a few years, the Eagles organization had grown such that with the overflow, they formed a new club called the Pacifics. So now we have three teams: the Eagles, the Rovers, and the Pacifics. And both became premier teams among more than a dozen that organized in the Bay Area. So there was quite a few teams that were organized at this time.
Wow.
So the sport was invigorating to watch, and spectators might even shoot their six guns when they get a little excited.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you know, you get things, you know, you get a little excitement, and gamblers were betting on their favorite team, and it said it was not uncommon to have enthusiastic supporters fire into the air to shake the concentration of the guy up at bat, hoping that he's going to strike out.
So the terminology "steal second base" might have ended somebody's life.
Yeah, or, you know, some outfielders out there ready to catch a ball.
Boom!
And boom, yeah. And you know, it could take your concentration.
Guy digs in a gopher hole.
Yeah. So anyway, the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad in May of 1869 was a game-changing moment in the history of the West. The 1,900-mile journey from Omaha, Nebraska to Sacramento, California, you know, had previously taken 5 months by wagon train, now took 5 days, and yeah, each mile on the train was kind of a rough, bone-jarring experience, and you know, it clattered over the rails at top speeds, really moving along right about 60 miles an hour.
60?
Yeah, 60. So anyway, the expanded markets and the cheaper channels to distribute products were major economic benefits of the railroad, and the Red Stockings saw their marketing possibility immediately and scheduled a trip west to show their talents to a paying audience. So they were looking at making some money on this deal.
You know, I just got to thinking about something, though. What about the catcher? The catcher couldn't possibly catch all those pitches barehanded.
Maybe that's why the scores were so high.
He didn't catch it.
He didn't catch a ball. That's, yeah, you know,
think about that.
I played fast pitch, underhand fast pitch.
Yeah, I have too.
And I caught a little bit, and even with a glove on, sometimes my hand would sting so bad.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that guy sitting back there, you got to do a lot of research on this.
Yeah, I'll see what I can find.
Because I could see the catcher going, ain't going to catch this one, and then the umpire gets it right in the mush.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, up until this point, the Red Stockings going west meant traveling to play teams in Chicago. beyond the Mississippi River was something they had only read about in headlines, talking about the gold strikes or the battles with the Indians. So in mid-September, they began their westward adventure, and out of the windows, their Pullman rail cars, they saw the western prairies and the mountains and the plains. And
used buffalo chips as bases.
Buffalo and antelope, they had never seen these. That was new to them, which they kind of did something maybe they shouldn't have. They did a little target practice on the buffalo and the antelope that were along the railroad there. But it says that a number of the ball players had brought sidearms, which they employed in shooting at the animals, who were fortunate that the players' accuracy was better suited for throwing baseballs at targets than hitting them with gunfire. I think that is saying these guys could not hit the broadside of a barn with a pistol. Now, baseball, yes.
So the old adage, in case of an Indian attack, you're going to die.
You're going to die. Just lay down. You're done. Well, so anyway, years later, a guy by the name of George Wright would tell of sleeping on the train with a 6-shooter under his pillow, ready for a surprise Indian attack. These guys were scared. First time out west, they were pretty nervous. Well, of course, they arrived in Sacramento with their head and their scalps intact. They took a paddle steamboat into San Francisco and were received warmly on September 23rd by an official welcoming committee, as well as several thousand curious onlookers. So the news got there ahead of them.
Yeah.
So
did ESPN carry the game?
They did. I think so. Yeah, probably. Okay, so I mentioned the 3 teams that were already there. The 3 local San Francisco amateur clubs, the Eagles, the Pacifics, and the Atlantics.
Right.
And they'd been chosen to represent the city in the upcoming games. So, I look at this kind of like a professional basketball team going to play
the Washington Nationals.
Yeah, something that, is struggling. What can you say? An amateur team.
Yeah.
An amateur team. Okay. But anyway, they've been chosen to represent the city, and all contests were to be played at Recreation Field, a place for entertainment of all sorts, from circuses to bicycle races. The newspapers proudly noted that special seating was available for 1,000 people in the pavilion at $1 per person and reserved for ladies and their escorts. So this was a big deal. So now, first up were the state champion Eagles. Now, they were the pride of San Francisco, and in the midst of their own undefeated season, which was only 5 games long.
I was going to ask you how long the season was.
5 games.
I see.
So anyway, Cincinnati beat them fairly convincingly, 35-4. 2 days later, the Eagles played them again and lost this time 58-4.
They're kind of faltering.
Well, yeah, you could say that. Now, things did not improve when the Pacifics took the field, losing twice to the Red Stockings, 66-4 and 54-5. So finally,
took the wind out of their sail.
Yeah. So the third team, the Atlantics, they were being beat so bad. 76-5 after 5 innings that everyone agreed.
After 5 innings?
At 5 innings, everyone agreed to mercifully end the game. Now, here's the final contest was played between a quote picked 9, so they took the best of the 3 teams, and they only lost 46-14.
Well, I'm glad that they had those cliffhangers.
Yeah, well, like I say, they took the best of the 3 teams, put them together. But that would have been fun, Zeb. I mean, even though they were getting beat,
they took on the best in the world.
They did. They took on the best, and I think it was exciting for the teams, even though they lost, to be able to see the amazing talent of this professional team.
Did anybody get any pictures of that?
I did have some pictures, but they weren't as such that I could bring them with me. So, but yeah, in their uniforms and one thing, the other hats and everything. But anyway, what was plain to see, besides their physical strength, the visitors that caused one San Francisco newspaper to note the players, quote, well-formed calves that bulged in their bright red hosiery, was that the Red Stockings played a different brand of baseball from the locals. So these guys were athletes.
They were athletes.
Yeah, they were,
Now, what did they get paid?
Well, they said they were salaried, so whatever that means, and probably maybe more than what you could make doing other things.
Like more than $30 a month, like working on a ranch or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Or?
But the thing is, they performed with precise teamwork. Okay, they were professionals. They would back each other up in case of an error. Just like you see today. Their pitcher got momentum from his underhand deliveries by taking a step toward home plate, in contrast to the locals who remained stationary, both feet firmly planted as they delivered the ball. Now, I did, I wasn't very good, but I did a little bit of fast pitch underhand, and you have to step forward to get any kind of speed on that ball.
If you want to appreciate what fast pitch is, just watch college girls softball.
Oh, they are amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, they are amazing.
45 feet away from home plate, and I know a lot of major leaguers that can't even touch them.
Yeah. Well, there was another team called the Bay Area Bombers, and when they were up to bat, they would swing for the fences, which resulted in these high sky balls to the outfielders, which were easy to catch. And when hitting a grounder, they would look at his path and run towards first base, almost as an afterthought, usually being thrown out in the process. So they just didn't have the skills and the techniques, But even though they got killed on the field, the teams enjoyed the opportunity to play alongside the famous Cincinnati Ball Club as it displayed professional baseball to the west. The Red Stockings left for home a little while after that with a bunch of money from their share of the admission fee. So they probably got quite a bit out of that. But they played a quick game in Sacramento against another picked 9 guys, which they won 50-6. Then they left the West, only stopping when they reached Omaha to beat up on 2 more local teams by the scores of 65-1 and 56-3. At the season's end, including exhibitions, they had registered 68 wins and 1 tie.
One tie?
One tie, and I don't know how that happened, but they...
Did they all play with the opposite hand?
I don't know. But there were 2 mining towns in Nevada that had hopes of getting the Red Stockings, that stopped there for ball games, but it didn't happen because to reach Virginia City or Carson City was about 30 miles south of the railroad, and they just weren't able to get over there, so the towns were kind of disappointed they didn't get to watch them.
And this is in 1869.
Yeah, and then, right about there. But, the attraction of instant wealth appealed to miners as risk takers, but as noted by a scholar study of the times, quote, mining itself was generally tiresome, monotonous, and frustratingly unsuccessful, so baseball was a welcome distraction, usually accompanied by beer for parched throats and gambling on the outcome, which was an appealing event for the miners. Okay?
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Now, there was a guy, 19-year-old Cal McVeigh, had been part of the Red Stockings trip west in 1869. He was a strong Iowa farm boy. Cal was an excellent hitter and the team's best right fielder. When the Red Stockings disbanded at the end of 1870, he followed a guy named Harry Wright and 2 other teammates to form another club in Boston. So Boston in 1908 became known as the Boston Red Sox. In 1908 by the owner, a guy named John Taylor.
Yeah.
And they wore their red stockings and...
Red Sox.
Right. But they still called themselves the Boston Red Stockings for a while until 1908 when it became the Boston Red Sox. Now this Cal McVeigh, he's the one that really got things going, playing on teams. He went to San Diego. He formed teams in Oakland. By the 1880s, amateur and semi-pro baseball teams were spread over all across the country in the late 1800s. So now this is where I know we're about out of time. So let me just say real quick that in 1888, the San Francisco Examiner published a poem that was to launch baseball into mainstream American consciousness. It was called Casey at the Bat.
Casey at the
Bat. And by chance, the story of the Mudville Nine was recited that summer on Broadway, and it brought down the house, becoming an instant classic. And throughout the West, there became lots and lots of Mudvilles and lots of Casey's striking out at the bat.
And now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Cincinnati Redlegs, that was their name for years.
Red Stockings, right.
No, Red Legs.
Red Legs.
It changed to Red Legs. And I believe they dropped the legs portion of that back in the late 40s or early 50s and just simply became the Cincinnati Reds, like they are today.
Okay.
But I also have heard many stories that they were criticized for keeping the name Reds because of the communistic attitude of that word.
Oh. Yeah, I
check
mean,
on that. See,
yeah. Anyway, when you think of the Old West, you don't think of baseball, but it was big. It was, a lot bigger than I think anybody thinks. Starting
Absolutely.
in the 1800s.
America's game.
Yeah.
There you go.
I was going to bring the poem Casey at the Bat, but I didn't get that.
Do it next week after you do all your research.
Okay.
I really am interested in the equipment, though.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen baseball gloves that look like nothing more than a hunk of leather. Those old.
They were.
Yeah.
Okay. That, to me, was extremely interesting. Thanks, Doc.
Well, I know you're a baseball fan.
I am a baseball addict. I did not know that about them traveling out west to play those teams.
Yeah, it's exciting for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, my friend. Thank you. You've got homework to do. We'll be back with more in just a minute, but right now I also want to remind you, help yourself, and I really want your attention on this, everybody. Help yourself build your financial security and future. How? Through silver purchases. I'm telling you that I am convinced you can create your security bank through silver purchases with 7K Metals. I know these people. I know the concept. I know that silver is appreciating in value, and right now it's a savings opportunity for you and a valued treasure for your loved ones. I want you to find out more about 7K Metals and silver. Now, I need you to contact Lon Hardy at 312-8699 or Sharon Wilmot at 430-3259 and tell them I told you to call, because I tell you, you can create your own bank, your own savings program through the purchases of silver, and it comes right to you at your home. 7K Metals. Find out more. Get a hold of Lon Hardy and Sharon Wilmot today. Right now, I've got to send it over to our main studios. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you, and welcome back to our last half hour. We're on the home stretch and running free. I want to remind you, too, quickly about our friends at Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. Curtis and Lorena, the entire staff. Wow. If you want to go shopping for electronics, whether it's a home theater system or surveillance cameras, car stereos and speakers, oh my goodness, they got all of that. Complete sound systems, all your TVs, whoo, the list goes on and on. Stop into Patterson's at 421 East Main in Burley. And here's the kicker. You go in and purchase a product from Patterson's, and you go up to the desk to pay, and you tell them, hey, one of my favorite charities is, and you tell them the charity, well, they're going to keep track of all the customers and all the favorite charities. At the end of November, they're going to take all the charities and count them up, and the top 2 charities, listen to this, Patterson's is going to donate $500 to the top 2 charities of your choice. Wow! Nice people, serving you and the community. Monday through Friday, they're open 9 to 6. Patterson's, 421 East Main in Burley. You stop in and see them today. All right, let's go to the phone line right now. And I'm very honored to have with the Pacific Legal Foundation, Wen Fa. Good morning, Wen. How are you?
Doing great. How about you?
Well, not too bad, but I'm going to be starting this segment off by saying that when I get up in the morning and I put on whatever I want to wear for that day, I'm not about to have somebody tell me what I can and can't wear out of my house. But it looks like if I go to the polls, somebody's going to play clothing police and tell me to go home.
Yes, absolutely. So many states, including Texas and Minnesota, have laws that prohibit voters from wearing T-shirts or buttons that an election judge might view as political. So you have examples of people in these states coming to the polling place wearing T-shirts that they got as souvenirs in Alaska, for example, and they were stopped from voting actually, because that the election judges in those states thought that it was too it resembled support for Sarah Palin. So I think you hit it right on the head. There's a lot of over criminalization going on in the United States, and apparently just something as innocuous as wearing a T-shirt or a button is illegal in many of these states.
When did this idiocy start? I mean, to where people are sitting there with binoculars, or they're sitting outside the door of the polling place going, aha! We're going to arrest this guy because he's got a John Wayne T-shirt on, and John Wayne represented conservatism, so we've got to get rid of that T-shirt.
Well, different states have different laws, and there are different histories behind those laws. But I think you made a really great point in terms of basically you have one volunteer at the polling place deciding who can come in to vote because of what he or she is wearing that day. So you have an example. This is something that's susceptible to open-ended enforcement and to arbitrary decision-making. So to give you a concrete example, this issue actually went up to the Supreme Court of the United States in 2018, and we won in invalidating the Minnesota law that banned political T-shirts at the polling place. And at argument, Justice Alito asked the government's lawyer if someone could wear a T-shirt with the text of the First Amendment to the polling place, and the government's lawyer said yes. Justice Alito then asked, what about someone wearing a T-shirt with the text of the Second Amendment? And the government lawyer said no, because that would be too political. So I think all that shows you that this is really something that's susceptible of being enforced in a very arbitrary and discriminatory way, and that's just another reason why we shouldn't have laws telling voters what they can and can't wear at the polling place.
Absolutely. We have a caller with a question for you, Wen, so stand by. Go ahead, caller, quickly. You're on the air.
I might understand that they're not wanting to require identification, that you're an American citizen and eligible to vote, that you can't wear whatever shirt you want. Is that correct?
Well, again, different states have different rules on the type of identification that they require at the polling place, but certainly the laws that we have challenged here at Pacific Legal Foundation is we've represented voters free of charge, as we represent all of our clients, and these are just voters who want to vote in T-shirts expressing their viewpoints. And you have a First Amendment right to wear a T-shirt that expresses your viewpoints, and the government in those states are basically arbitrarily violating their right to speech under the First Amendment.
Yeah, but let me jump in here, boys and girls, and caller, stay on the line. I think the point that the caller was making, and I think it's a very astute point that needs to be amplified, is that at the polls we're told that it's discriminatory to find out who these people are that are going to vote. They might be so-and-so from so-and-so, and then go to another polling place, and we're not allowed to ask who they are if they're an American citizen, but yet we're going to have people chastised and turned away because of a T-shirt? This is asinine. Caller, is that what your point was?
Absolutely. Thank you, Zeb. Absolutely. That's absolutely what my point was.
Respond to that, Wen, because I absolutely think everyone, if they're going to vote, should show an ID, and I will not back up on my feelings.
Well, I think you raise an interesting point, but I think what we are trying to say in this litigation is that discrimination, certainly arbitrary decision-making by the government is wrong, and I think you agree with that. And when a statute or a law gives the government broad and open-ended authority to ban every T-shirt that someone might view as political, that inevitably leads to decisions that are arbitrary, decisions that are unjust, and decisions that are infected in many cases with the bias of the election judge who happens to be manning the polling place on that day.
Yeah, but we're missing the crux of the whole thing here.
To choose between their right to vote and their right to express their viewpoints on election day. And that is the principle that we're trying to vindicate.
No, I understand that. Win, but I'm not going to back up from my feeling that we're going to have people, idiots, that are going to promote, oh, you can't wear this T-shirt, or you can't wear this cap, or you can't have that button on, but yet those same non-qualified idiots are going to allow people that are not citizens of this United States go into a polling place and vote because they don't have to show any ID. That's where the crux of the problem comes from, and that's where it has to be cleaned up.
Well, I think, I sense that you have some strong feelings on the second point. And
I do.
I guess what I would say to that is that, there sure are organizations on both sides of the issue on the second point. Our litigation has not been focused on that issue. Our litigation has been focused on the right to political expression, the right of individuals to express themselves on Election Day, just as they do on any other day of the week. And in fact, on Election Day, I would say that the right to political expression is more important on that day than any other day of the week. A law that bans someone from expressing their political opinions on Election Day is like a law that stops people from saying Merry Christmas on December 25th. You can think of no other day of the year in which it's more valuable and it shouldn't be prohibited.
No, I think we're on the same page and in the same thought process. And I totally agree with you, and you're fighting for the right to wear whatever clothing you want. I absolutely will stand up and salute you for this. But I will not ever have anyone, I don't care who they are or what they represent, tell me that we shouldn't be more cognizant and more powerful in making sure that people that vote are American citizens.
Right. Again, that's. I do appreciate the fact that you have some strong feelings about that, and as I stated earlier, we, as far as I know, our First Amendment. We're concerned with the First Amendment. That's one of our core practice areas here, and in terms of the First Amendment, the government cannot censor people from expressing their political viewpoints on Election Day. I understand your strong feelings on the other issue. I think it raises perhaps some other constitutional issues, but here we're focused on the First Amendment, economic liberty, property rights, separation of powers, and ultimately with the goal of promoting individual liberty through litigation in courts across the United States.
Now, we've got a caller with another question. Pardon me. Go ahead, caller. Quickly, you're on the air.
Hi, Deb. I worked in the voting polling thing for about 20 years, and at the end, there were really strict rules about if you come in to vote and you've got graffiti on your shirt or on, something that was showing a favorite in somewhere that might be voted on, we had to ask that person to leave and at least go out and cover up their advertisement, because voting has become it's such a privilege, and some people want to do it 3 or 4 times, and that just really made it bad. So I agree that it's really almost, you should never go to vote with graffiti on your clothes.
I appreciate your call, caller. Thank you very, very much. But I'm going to say this. We are deluged going to the polls and home from the polls. We are deluged with advertising of any and all political candidates. We are subjected to their advertising on radio, television, and all the newspaper ads. And do you mean to tell me that we have to be careful and we have to turn away someone that has a T-shirt that might have a reference or an inkling to a certain candidate or political party at the polls? This is asinine to me. Go ahead, Wynn. Respond, please.
Well, so to see if I understand the caller's question, it's not unclear what she meant by graffiti. The examples that I've seen are people just wearing T-shirts that saying things like Alaska, saying things like MIT, and those people were turned away because MIT, which stands for Massachusetts Institute for Technology, was apparently too close to then candidate Mitt Romney.
Oh, boy.
And you have people being turned away at the polling place because they just got off a shift as a firefighter, and they were in their firefighter uniforms. But guess what? There was an initiative on the ballot about firefighter pay, so they couldn't even vote in their uniforms.
Oh, my
And
goodness.
I think those are the examples that I hear, and those examples are frankly shocking in a country that values freedom of speech under the First Amendment, and in a country that values the rule of law. You can't have election judges, usually volunteers, in different counties enforcing the same law differently and turning away people for wearing shirts that say MIT, Alaska, and turning away people for something like wearing a firefighter's uniform at the polling place.
You know, it's almost like today we should go to the airports because of all the borders or the plane airport security. We should go to the airports naked and get dressed afterwards. And now it sounds like we ought to go to the polling places naked and get dressed back outside.
Well, I certainly don't think we should do that, but you do have examples like the last caller was saying where people were forced to turn their side, to go to the restroom and turn their shirts inside out and just to be able to vote. And, you know, there are a lot of, I guess, things that are actually problems. The government shouldn't be spending its time and resources making arbitrary decisions and enforcing an arbitrary dress code at the polling place. That is just not something that the government should be doing, and they certainly shouldn't be violating voters' First Amendment rights.
Absolutely. Wayne, I want to tell you how much I appreciate you coming on the program. You always present a good case, and I appreciate it on behalf of the Pacific Legal Foundation. Please tell my audience how they can follow this story and many more with PLF.
They can find information about this story and about PLF on our website at pacificlegal.org. And as always, I appreciate being on your show, Zeb.
God bless you, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. What you can wear and what you can't wear going to the polling place. I'm not going to back up on this, though. I mean, John Wayne, I brought that up because John Wayne was a very staunch conservative. And I do know of a case that happened in California, of all states, where a guy did show up wearing a John Wayne T-shirt and America, Why I Love Her. That's one of his recorded albums that he had. And they yelled and screamed at him that he had to go home and change that T-shirt. And I'm sitting there going, no. Here we are, like the caller that called in, and I really respect that caller's point of view. Here we are, willing to let people that are not American citizens and have no business going to the polling place. None. We allow and we let slipshod go into the polling places and vote in an American election, and yet we're going to turn away somebody that has a questionable T-shirt on? Are you kidding me? Oh, by the way, I'm so hungry right now. I could absolutely eat this microphone. And of all the things I get a chance to talk about right now, whoa, does this sound good. Have you taken your lovey and your family over to Edith's Cafe? Wow. I have heard so many great things about it, and this week, either today or tomorrow, we're going to be stopping in there. They're open Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 8, Fridays and Saturdays, 11 to 9. They're located at 144 East Highway 81, right across from the golf course, and their menu it's just lip-smacking good. I'm telling you, there's everything in here that you could possibly want. Today's Tuesday, and all day they're going to have on their special barbecued pulled pork sandwiches. My favorites. And then, of course, they've got all the delicious desserts, including my favorite, peach cobbler a la mode. You better start baking over there. I'll tell you what, stop in and enjoy the great people and the great food at Edith's Cafe. Basically just absolutely delicious. 144 East Highway 81 in Burley. They're waiting to serve you. Let's go to the weather forecast right now, and the weather brought to you by our friends at Scarrows Meats. Don Scarrow and the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. Oh, my. All the delicious meats from Scarrows Meats. I'm drooling. All the bacons, all the different kinds of bacons, and the breakfast sausages, and the bratwurst. Oh, I had a couple of bratwurst the other night. Love them. And, of course, the tri-tips and the pork ribs. Oh, the list goes on. You're going to love the meats from Scarrows Meats in Jerome. Please, number to call, 324-7657. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We're looking at a fairly mild day as we are making our way through the work week. Here's a look at your weather forecast for the 12th. Mostly sunny skies. We are expecting a high of 57. A little bit of a breeze, but honestly, we are going to be in this air stagnation advisory. That means that we don't have a lot of breeze pushing through that smoke and all of the dust and everything from harvest silt. That's going to be laying low in the valley. For tonight, mostly cloudy skies. We are expecting a low of 31. Tomorrow, sunny skies with a high of 57. Overnight low of 27 by Thursday. Hopefully we're going to be breaking out of that air stagnation advisory. Partly sunny skies, high of about 60, east winds at about 7 miles an hour. For Friday, mostly cloudy skies and 60, and then for Saturday, looks like mostly sunny and 50. That's a look at your weather forecast for 7-3.
Gina, thank you, and brought to you by Scarrows Meats. Don Scarrow and the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. Telephone number to call, 324-7657. And it is so true. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time at Scarrows Meats. Did you hear? Here's another one of the loony stories out in the audience. Wheels, did you just say something to me?
No, sir.
You know, that's a bad sign when I'm starting to hear voices, isn't it?
No, you're perfectly fine. It seems like that slips on me sometimes, but it's okay.
All right, buddy. Target is introducing something for you to get your friends at Christmas time. You know what it is? Why, they've decided to introduce a gender-inclusive gingerbread Christmas sweater. What an absolutely stupid, insane gift. Yeah, the world-famous gingerbread man has been given a makeover in the newly featured gender-inclusive gingerbread Christmas sweater, available now for the price of $29.99. Oh, goody. The new gender-inclusive gingerbread man or person has no unique features distinguishing itself from the average gingerbread man, and yet the Target online store literally bills it as the gender-inclusive gingerbread long-sleeve sweater. As a society, can we become any dumber than we are right now? There's two genders, male and female. And all this other perverted interest in creating 47, 62, 78, 93 different genders. What is the matter with us? There are two genders. There will only be a reference to two genders on this program, male and female. And the pronouns he and she will be applicable. Don't change it. It won't be changed here. I want to remind you about our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, and somebody out in the audience says, oh, you might have offended somebody. I don't care if those people are offended, because they offend me by trying to change science of male and female. There. Be ready for any weather driving, and that's, of course, with the best of tires from your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. They've been doing the right thing since 1952. Don't you wish we all would keep on doing the right thing since 1952? I urge you to stop in and check out all the tread designs, all the sizes for all your vehicles for safe, any kind of weather driving. They've got them right there at all 7 locations. Along with this, the best in and brake service, front end alignments, shocks and struts, batteries, and so much more. But it all goes back to service. Good old-fashioned service and taking care of you, the customer. Stop in today and see any one of the 7 locations. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. None better, none. Your best is your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Thank you. Tomorrow on the program, Dave Bego, and then also we're going to have Rick Manning talking about a brand new book and many other guests, and we're looking forward to it. We hope you're here. We always end the program by saying the way things were are the way things ought to be. Emphasis on ought to be. And we always close with 4 words that mean the most to us. In God we trust. Deanne, I love you. It's our anniversary. 48 great years. God bless everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 8:06.